Election night is right around the corner. The Sioux Falls municipal election is coinciding with the primary election on Tuesday. And on the city's ballot are 5 proposed changes to the Sioux Falls charter. Parker Brown with more on what you need to know about that. It is our top story here tonight. Hello, Parker.
Hey Brian, the city charter functions like a constitution for Sioux Falls government, and because of that, each amendment is required to be approved by the voters. Just to get to the ballot, amendments must go through a long public process of being pitched to and discussed by the Charter Revision Commission, which meets every other year.
The Charter Revision Commission typically tries to bring 3 amendments to the ballot each time out of all the proposals. But this year was a little different.
There were several state law changes that kind of prompted a couple additional amendments this time around.
City Attorney Dave Fifley says some are straightforward, like Amendment E just changing a typo, or Amendment B clarifying how City Council can act on a budget to account for carrying leftover money into the next budget year. You'll find explanations of each change on your ballot like this. Amendment A is a change prompted by state law. Fifley says it allows the city to adjust election dates.
Our charter in its current form says every municipal election will be in April, and so we have to eliminate that obsolete date provision. All this Amendment A is doing is it's taking out specific dates and just allowing the council to set them by ordinance, which will have to comply with state law.
The charter currently states that after a city council member's term expires, they must wait 2 years before holding another city office or a job from the city. Amendment C will give the city's Board of Ethics the option to hear a request to grant a waiver bypassing the 2-year rule.
Ultimately, what we found is there's fewer and fewer people willing to serve in public service, and we need to expand our bullpen as much as possible, and this would allow it. And the Board of Ethics, it would be a very public process in terms of that waiver. It'd be a public meeting.
Salaries of city officials were set by the city charter when it was introduced in 1994. It also allows it to be adjusted for inflation annually. Amendment D would keep that process, but also give City Council the ability to set salaries above or below the inflation-adjusted number with an ordinance.
It would not take effect until after an intervening election had taken place for that office, and it would be subject to referendum like anything else.
Election Day is on June 2nd. You can learn more about who is on your ballot through our Meet the Candidates interviews. Also, you can find more election resources like how to find your polling location or how to find a sample ballot over on this story at dakotanewsnow.com. Brian?
Parker Brown tonight. Parker, thank you.